you'll see up at the top BOBS, and then you'll see this link here that says BOBS project listings, which will take you to this page. If it asks you for a login, just use your BidCentral login, your plan room login, okay? It's the same one to get into apps as it is to get into your plan room. If you don't have a login, or if you've forgotten what it is, or if you need any help getting logged in, just reach out and I can help you. Okay, so now we're looking at the list of open BOBS projects right here, and you can see we've got a few on the go here. But if you go down, you can see the Cedar Hill Middle School Replacement Project. This will also show any pre-bid interpretations that have been published, so you can view those there. And also it shows you here which trades are applicable for this project. Project closes on the 25th of July. If you click View Documents, that's going to take you through to the plan room where you can log in and view the documents. If you hit Launch BOBS Wizard, that's going to take you to the BOBS Wizard. Okay, so there's going to be a step-by-step kind of process to walk through here. So it will show you the pre-bid interpretations again. If you've gone through and checked all those, hit Next. And then step 2, it's going to ask you what your company type is. Are you a general contractor or a trade contractor? Since you guys are going to be bidding, you're going to be a trade contractor. Okay, so this takes you to the BOBS registration. So in order to submit a BOBS bid, you need to register for the project. So this big blue button here that says register as a trade contractor now, and that's going to take you to a page where you pay the BOBS registration fee, which is $125. That includes PST and GST. So if you hit register now, again, you can see that's the amount. Put the project number in. The project number is this one up here, 2023-002898. It's the same project number that's in the BidCentral plan room. So project number, project name, company name, fill all this stuff out, and then card information down at the bottom, and then hit pay $125, and then you'll get an email with a confirmation of payment, and in that email will contain the receipt number. Save that because you're going to need it later. Okay, so now you've done that step, then you hit Next. And then step 4 is the bid bonds. So there's the bid bond form. If you click that, it will download the template here that the same kind of format that we've used over the years. So you fill all that out and then get your bond ready because you're going to need that later on.
Maybe, Adam, I'll jump in at the end. Hi, everybody. I'm Katy Fairley. I'm the BOBS Provincial Administrator. If you want to stay on the line after we walk through the bids and tenders, how you actually submit your bid, I'll explain to you a little bit more about maybe the uniqueness of that bond form and what you need to pass along to your broker and surety company.
Perfect, thanks. All right, and then the next step is step 5 to actually submit your bid. So if you click here, this is going to take you over to the bid submission platform, which we are using bids and tenders. Most of you have probably used bids and tenders to submit bids to other owners. So this is the place that you could go through to submit your bid. If you don't have a login for bids and tenders, you can register one on their website. It's free. You don't have to pay anything to create an account, but you will need an account in order to submit a bid through bids and tenders. So looking at this page right now, and again, it's got all the information here about the project number, all that stuff here. You won't find the documents in here because they're on BidCentral. So if you want to see the project documents, you can go back to the BOBS page and follow that link, and that'll take you to the well, there's the link to the project right there. So the first thing you need to do in order to submit your bid through bids and tenders is to register for the bid. So if you hit that, it's going to ask me for my login. So you need to log in, and then there's all this stuff, and you just hit agree. Read it first, don't just click agree blindly like I did. Okay, so it now says you've successfully registered as a plan taker for this project. So if we go back here now into this project, you'll see this button now that says start submission. we click that, that's going to take us into the actual bid submission module so that you can send your bid off. So before you start, there's going to be instructions for subtrades. So that would be all of you guys go through, make sure you click I'm bidding on the project in BidCentral. Just follow this. It's really simple, kind of straightforward instructions. Just kind of go through those. And then once you're ready, go ahead and hit continue with submission. Here we go. So this might look familiar to you if you've used bids and tenders before. Okay, so the schedule of pricing is probably the most complicated part, so I'll just kind of walk through it. So there's 3 steps that you have to go through in the pricing. So step 1 is to select which GC you're submitting your bid to. So if you go through here, you'll see that these are the GCs that are listed in here. And I guess actually I should just pause for a moment and just kind of explain, if this is your first time submitting a BOBS project, or using bids and tenders, how this works is you'll go through and you'll submit a bid to each general contractor. And once you've submitted your bid, then you can go through and submit another bid, and then go through and submit another bid until you've submitted bids to each general contractor. So we'll start with the top one. That, click save. Now step 1 is gone green. Now step 2 is select your trade and enter the bid amount. So click edit there. Cool. Price in, alternative price. Two. Hit save. And now you see step 2 is gone green. Last one, cash allowances. If you're not going to be submitting cash allowances, which is most commonly the case, then you can go ahead and click that, and then that will opt you out of that step. And then hit save. Oh, looks like there's a question. Oh, that was you. That's Katie, thanks. Okay, so step 1 is all finished here. So you can see that this has gone green now. So now you can move on to step 2. So remember how I mentioned before, when you did the transaction to register for the project, it's going to ask you for the receipt number. If you forgot to do it, there's a link there to actually make the payment, but you can just put your receipt number in there. And then hit save. And you'll see step 2 has gone green. Now step 3, bond. Load your bond. You'll see that it just shows up in there now. Hit save, and bond has gone green. Step 4, excuse me, terms and pre-bid agreements. This is where you just go through and check the terms, conditions, and the rules of procedures, and fill all that stuff out. Any potential or actual conflicts of interest? Nope. You have to tick this box. It's just one of the funny requirements of bids and tenders, but tick that box. And then hit save. Oh, we got, do we have a question? Okay, we've got a question here from Paula. Is there, oh, Katie's already answered it.
I'm answering it as we go. And then when we're at the end of this, I'll answer that question. But for Paula's sake, I've answered it like in Word form. So I'll jump in at the end and answer it directly.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, so the last step here is to check the box that the step's not necessary, and then hit save. And step 4 is green now. And now step 5 is just to preview your bid. The bid's been validated, so that's great. go through, make sure all this stuff looks correct. That's who you're submitting the bid to. Those are the bid amounts. Make sure that's all good, not an extra 0 in there. Make sure all that looks good. And then the last step is to submit your bid. So click the big blue button there that says submit my bid now. Are you sure? Yes, I'm sure. Just the wheels turning. There we go. Okay, so it'll say success, your bid's been submitted, and you can download a copy of your bid. And now if you go into the My Bids page, you can see that under My Active Bids, here's that project. You can view your submission, you can edit or withdraw your submission, or you can start an alternate bid. So you guys probably remember earlier I submitted my bid to the one GC, and now I'm going to start an alternate bid to submit a second bid, and this time it's going to go to the second GC. So if I hit start an alternate bid, and give it a name just to kind of remember it by, and then that'll take you back into the same steps again. So again, now we've submitted to GC1. Now we're going to go to GC2, hit save, and then just keep going through the process until all the tick boxes are green, and then submit your bid. And then again, back to My Bid Submissions, and then submit another bid.
So Adam, we do have a, sorry, a question here. Can you send a blanket bid to all GCs to eliminate doing this step multiple times? Great question. I think the short answer there is no, but I believe there's a way to really start your bids, right? You can begin them, have them saved, and then come back to undertake certain complete the rest of it, let's say.
Yeah, exactly. So if I go through this and then hit save and now jump back to my bids, you'll see that that it will show up in here as a draft. I've got one bid submitted and one in progress. So if I hit manage my submissions, now you'll see that bid number 2 is in progress, and then you can resume it.
Right. So I think our recommendation to folks would be to start all of that obviously ahead of time, and have those kind of saved and ready so that you can jump in.
Yeah. Excuse me. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so that's pretty much the process. Most of what you'll be doing, like once you go back into My Bids here, again, you can view all of your bids. The biggest thing, honestly, that I get phone calls about the most is they don't see the button to start the bid submissions, and that's usually because you haven't registered for the bid. So if you remember when I clicked through from the wizard into the project, I had to register for the bid first. So once you register for it, log in, then you actually get listed as a registered bidder for the project, and then you can actually submit your bid.
Great. So if there's any questions about this process, and I'd say, Adam's available. My contact information is on any pre-bid, but if you contact me about this technical part, you'll end up talking to him. But this is also run by bids and tenders. So any kind of questions about, the technical aspects specifically of it can also go, can go through them. So, but other than that, kind of, again, start early, get used to this process. We'll have this recorded. And then as always, don't leave it to the last minute to start those submissions, but obviously we understand that the pricing comes in towards the end. So So there's a question here. Is there a deadline to register before close? In terms of BOBS itself, to pay that fee, no, you could conceivably pay that fee, right up to the minutes leading to the 3 p.m. BOBS closing. I don't think you would want to do that because, as Adam outlined, you need that receipt information in order to register. And then on the bids and tenders side, though, Adam, I mean, again, you could conceivably start your bid, start that process, like in the minutes leading up to the 3 p.m. closing deadline, although I don't know why you'd want to leave it that late.
For sure, yeah. Oh, you can definitely, but yeah, it shuts at well, whatever the closing time is set to. It's if you don't have it fully populated by that time, it won't let you finish it.
Yeah. Now, and I know that we have some GCs on the line today, and this is directed towards the trade contractors. So GCs do have a deadline that they need to confirm their intent to bid, and that is 2 business days prior to the BOBS closing. So technically, I guess then 4 business days prior to the GC close, they have to pay their fee and confirm their intent to bid. But for trade contractors, again, conceivably you could do it getting pretty close to that deadline, but we don't obviously recommend that. So another question is, 1 registration receipt for all GCs, or do we need 1 registration number per GC? No, you register and pay the $125 fee once. So whether you need any, if like, you don't need to pay for that more than once to submit bids to different GCs. It's a one-time fee for trade contractors for that project, $125. So I hope that helps. There's a question here about doing the walkthrough for the GC process. I'll wait to the end to do that. Just focus on the trade contractors right now, and I can walk through through everybody at the end. I'll go to the questions about clarifying the scope of work. So somebody here has asked the question, who do we ask to clarify scope of work questions? And the answer is me. So the ways and means, as you know, in construction are really determined by the GC in coordination with their trades. And so it's, it's not a question to be going through the consultants with. So if you're wondering, do I do something, or does mechanical, or, am I doing this, or is another trade or the GC? Those are the types of questions that you can send through to me. And I would encourage you to send those through as quickly as possible. But yeah, anything to do with clarifying scope for electrical, mechanical, and structural steel would come through me. And just with that, I'll go back to the question that was asked earlier. Is there any way to exclude items from your scope for a GC? So under BOBS, in short, the answer is no. Qualifying your bid, contacting the GCs after the fact, all of that is in contravention of the rules. And I would strongly urge all of you to kind of go through the rules. They're not short, but they are the foundation of how we run this program. So, I think everybody benefits when folks are bidding to the same scope. That's kind of the foundational element of bid depository and BOBS for us. So if you're looking, again, ask for clarification, ask for ask for a pre-bid interpretation, and you can certainly, contact me about that as well. So.
Katie, before you jump in,
yep.
I have to jump off, but
yeah,
I put my contact information in the chat, so if anyone has questions that are technical related, please by so.
Awesome. Thanks.
You bet. Thanks.
So there's another question here. who do we go through to clarify the civil scope? And I will say that is not me. That is, civil is not closing under BOBS, so it's not an item that we are going to that we're going to deal with. So that would be dealing with the GCs, or I can talk to the consultants, but that's a GC question. So a question here also on scope: if a consultant receives a question that is related to scope of work, do they send it to me? Yes, it is. So if it's under a BOBS, one of the BOBS trades, so electrical, mechanical, structural, steel, yes, we would answer those questions related to those 3 trades. But on the other ones, that's outside of our purview. So if there's no other questions, what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen, and I will I'll just cover off the bond requirements again for the trades. What we're talking about today is the trades. You know, if you're a GC, you're going to follow whatever the owner says for bid submissions and whatever they need for bond, L&M, consent of surety, performance, everything like that. So while you can see my screen here, this is the wizard. We're going to register as if we're a trade so that we can get to that information about the bid bonds. So this will click you through, like Adam said, to where to register. But for right now, I'm going to click through that. So quite importantly, BOBS has a very unique bid bond form. So it's been developed alongside the Surety Association. And so you're going to want to send this form to your broker for them to go and get it filled out, get it sealed, and all that sort of stuff from your surety company. It's very important that it's on that form. We don't require consent of surety. It's just this one page, the Appendix C. The other item that I would note that is critical to having a valid and compliant bond is that they have to be through one of the e-bond providers that is approved by the Surety Association of Canada. So there's 3 of them, and they need to be, you know, properly electronically signed and sealed through one of those three items. Most of your brokers are probably familiar with it. E-bonding is more and more common. Certainly the construction associations support it. So just make sure that you get them that form and that you get them to fill it out correctly. If they don't, we do allow 24 hours after the BOBS closing to rectify it. However, there is a fee associated with that. So to avoid that and any headaches and last minute stress, make sure that they've done that correctly. And I'd also suggest that you can forward to them the rules that I have pulled up here. So, and again, if anyone has any questions, you know, certainly, you know, reach out to me. You know, happy to answer any questions. And again, this is really the rules that you're going to want to get familiar with, and also read through those pre-bid interpretations that we issue. So I'm assuming all of you are registered for this project with BidCentral. That's how you're going to get the most up-to-date information from us. But I think we might have some more questions. Okay, I will leave this to, if there's anything else from the trades about the submission process or the BOBS process, please, I think, speak up now. Otherwise, I will move on to how to do the GC registration. It's very straightforward. Okie dokie. So let me just. And I stopped working. as you can see, we actually have a lot of BOBS projects right now. So this is most of them are on the Lower Mainland, but if you like this process, like the fact that you're getting, if you're a GC, your bids ahead of time, like the fact it's a standard scope of work, definitely take a look at those projects. So if you are a GC, it's as simple as coming in here into the wizard under company type, you're selecting GC, and you will click register as a GC now. And then you will also pay $125 fee, and you will fill this out to confirm your intent. Now, importantly, you're going to say down here at the bottom, if you're bidding own forces. When we say that, we mean bidding own forces for a BOBS trade. So that would be electrical, mechanical, structural, steel. In this case, I don't think any GC will be bidding own forces for one of those 3 trades. So you'd select no. If you've selected, yes, and sometimes folks will list off, rough carpentry, concrete, or something like that, we'll just disregard it. It's not a BOBS trade. So that's really what we're looking for. And then you'll insert your information and pay $125. You will get a confirmation email, and that's all it is. So that's how simple it is for the GCs. So that, I think, concludes this webinar. Sorry about the start. Adam and I don't do these too often. And again, I think, any questions that you guys have, particularly about scope, please reach out to me. And again, register on BidCentral, get used to the process on bids and tenders. Yeah, please contact us with any questions. So enjoy the rest of your day, and yeah, happy bidding. Thanks.